Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday morning. Hope you guys have been having a great start to your day so far and a great work week. As always, I got you an update on what is going to happen specifically for today, but towards the end of the video, we're also going to talk a little bit about tomorrow also, because I do think the severe weather threat is increasing for your Friday across anywhere from the Panhandle of Florida all the way up to the Delmarva area of Virginia. I'm really worried about a little bit of a isolated, very small area that could have an enhanced tornado threat, not literally a level 3 out of 5 enhanced tornado threat, but you never know. It could end up, unfolding to something like that, but we'll have to watch and see. I want to remind you guys, I'm heading to the beach right after this video, so I actually will not be able to keep you very updated on what's going to happen tomorrow with an evening video tonight or a morning video tomorrow morning. So if I'm, whatever reason, your only source for weather, I shouldn't be. There's a lot of other great sources out there too, including the National Weather Service and your local news. But I will still continue to be posting. I might make a small YouTube video, one or two this weekend, but obviously it's not going to be like how it is when I'm talking to you guys on a computer screen. It's not going to be really nice and appealing looking, if you will. But hit me up on social media. I'll continue to pump out updates on there, not quite as frequently, but it's a great way to stay up to date with your general location, especially if you live in the Southeast. So we're going to talk about today, severe weather expected today and then potentially a little bit later tonight. So that's really we're going to break down this. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. I appreciate the support in these morning videos. It's been awesome to see. You guys have really been supporting me, so I really appreciate it. And if you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it and gives others an opportunity to do so too. So let's get rolling this morning. We're going to always, start this off by looking at a water vapor loop. We got a system starting to enter the Pacific Northwest, going to bring a lot of rain for you folks. Here in the coming hours, you'll start to have a lot more increased coverage of rain in this area, which y'all are very accustomed to up in that region. And then you have this swirl right here. This little cutoff piece of energy will continue to meander across the country and bring severe weather throughout the South, Mid-South, Southeast, even Mid-Atlantic tomorrow. But right now, it's creating a lot of moisture, and there's some flooding issues in Oklahoma as I speak. Flash flood warnings going on right now. We'll take a look at radar scope, and you can see, you look at all the moisture still falling. I don't have this in motion, but there's storms still ongoing in areas of Oklahoma City. There's a lot of moisture north of the city, east of the city, southeast of the city, but we're really watching this piece of energy right here that's going to start to kind of revamp itself or re-energize, and it's going to move this way and probably turn into some sort of a line of storms and move, this is Louisiana, Arkansas right here, and move this way, and really something is going to get cranking up around this region and continue to track this way. So that's really what we're going to talk about in this video is the possibility of that happening, the likelihood of that happening. Right now you got enhanced risk almost in the entire area I just circled, enhanced risk level 3 out of 5. The tornado threat not near as high today as it was yesterday. Yesterday ended up pretty much verifying. There was some stronger tornadoes. There was a small town in Oklahoma that got heavily damaged. It really did, just east of Oklahoma City, southeast. And there was a town also, I think Lockett, I think that was the name of the town. Maybe I got that wrong, in Texas that got hit pretty hard overnight. But anyways, an enhanced risk right here. Obviously, we're praying for anybody affected. I haven't heard any deaths or anything like that. So hopefully everybody's okay. I heard of a tour bus that got flipped over, actually a storm chasing tour bus. So it got flipped over. It was a lot of people were kind of trapped on one area of a highway and couldn't really move. And it was overnight, so you can't see it coming. But anyways, hope you guys are doing okay in that area of Texas and Oklahoma this morning. But this enhanced area is up, stretching from Waco all the way through Little Rock. Doesn't quite make it to Memphis, but Memphis is under a slight risk. And Nashville's under a slight risk. This is really for later this evening into the overnight hours. But really, this is, there's a tornado threat in this enhanced risk. 5% risk, and there's also a 5% risk up here, right, where you have more of a triple point. Normally when you get to these kind of setups, you have two discrete areas once this thing gets kind of strung out. But 5% risk of a tornado also up here in areas of southwest Kentucky and then areas of Tennessee, including Nashville. So watch out in the Quad States region also. 5% risk of a tornado where this line develops where you can have an isolated spin up embedded in this kind of semi-linear setup. Linear meaning a line of storms. So you got to be careful. Shreveport, Little Rock, areas south of Little Rock especially, atmosphere is going to destabilize very quickly. In fact, it already is this morning, as it gets ripe for severe weather. So, but I really think damaging winds will be the primary concern with this. 30% chance of damaging winds occurring in this region right here. 25 miles at any given point. So, anybody can get it in this area, especially if it's a good day to download that radar scope or radar Omega, some kind of reliable radar app on your phone, so you can actually put your location on this phone and you can see this coming. That Weather Channel app, and I know not everybody has, wants to drop $10 on the weather app a year. I get it. I'm like that too. I don't like spending money on things like that, but it could save your life. You really never know. Radar scope's $10 a year, not a month. A year. If it was a year, it would tear my nerves up too a little bit, but it's just a year. It really is $9.99 a year, but it's a great app. I would definitely recommend downloading it. But be careful today. There is a hail threat, 15% risk, 25 miles in any given location, pretty much in the entire slight and enhanced risk, but that's not very high today as you lose some of the dynamics to promote a big-time hailstorms. But anyways, we'll start off by looking at Texas. But really, I want you guys to focus on this part of your screen because this is really where it develops. We'll start off by this morning, 6, 7 a.m., getting rolling here. And as we're rolling through the afternoon, evening, well, really, the early, late morning hours, that's offsetting. Early, late morning hours doesn't make any sense. But as we're getting through about the mid to late morning hours, it's starting to get some convection that already pops up. That tells you how unstable the atmosphere is down here. When you already got convection popping up in the morning hours before even lunchtime, this quickly strengthens. At first it might be just kind of an area of broken up showers and storms, but it quickly strengthens. It moves very slowly. And I really think there could be a flooding threat in this area just south of Dallas-Fort Worth. So these towns and cities down here south and southeast and east of Dallas-Fort Worth, this is where this line materializes. And then it starts to pick up a little bit more speed as you get into the mid to late afternoon hours and starts to move into Arkansas and Louisiana. We'll go on and play it out through the whole time. Gets kind of strung out, starts to lose some steam, but it is a slow mover. This is by this evening. It's still in areas of eastern Texas. Finally might kind of re-energize as it gets into some more moist air down here near the Gulf of Mexico. But if you're down here in areas of Louisiana, southwest Louisiana, and then the far corner of southeast areas of Texas, as the sun goes down, this starts to move to the coast and starts to get over to the Gulf of Mexico. And this could be an intense line of storms as you guys are getting ready for bed and dinner time and things like that. For my folks in Arkansas and surrounding pieces of other states, this could be pretty intense today. We're moving forward. As we're getting into closer to the 10, 11 a.m. time frame, you're already starting to get some showers. I think once you get into northern Arkansas, it'll be more so heavy rain. Southern Missouri, more so heavy rain, but you could obviously see a storm too. And as we're getting into about the lunchtime time frame, give or take an hour, some nasty storms start to move into Little Rock. They might start really intensify right over you, Little Rock. But you really look at the entire line as a whole. We just looked at Texas, but you keep this rolling until about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it'll be a little sloppy potentially on radar, but if it really intensifies, it was showing this about 24 hours ago, it was showing a really intense line. It doesn't look quite as tense if you're looking at the short range model, but as this is getting going, you got plenty of unstable air in this area. This is about 3 or 4 o'clock. Memphis storms are knocking on the door here. This continues to move in, and when this will be the strongest, not quite sure, but I'm betting it being about 4 or 5 o'clock, and wherever this line is, around 4, 5, 6 o'clock this afternoon, this evening. This could be really intense. It wants to make it really intense right here in the northwest corner of Louisiana. Watch out, Shreveport. But this could have damaging winds along it. I think it'll begin to enter Mississippi, and this little broken up segment of the line, the northern end, could have a tornado threat right up here. These little kind of, I wouldn't even call them even semi-discrete, but watch out these storms right here in western Kentucky. Western Tennessee, the Quad States regions. This is when you have a little bit better kinematics, meaning there's a little bit more of a favorable wind pattern. I wouldn't even call it a pattern, but wind energy in the atmosphere to really put a spin to any kind of thing that gets developing up in this region right here. The thermodynamics might not be as good, which is those that high-end moisture at the surface, that cape levels. But you have enough of that up here in this region, and you mash it and overlap it with the kinematics, and you might have, that's why you have that 5% risk of a tornado right up here. So be careful in this area. There's an elevated tornado threat, secondary elevated tornado threat in this area. But this line will continue to sweep through. We'll begin to enter Mississippi, and as a whole enter western Tennessee is maybe like a second round here, and it might just be a whole lot of heavy rain, some gusty winds. We'll have to see how this holds together. Then this begins to get into the deep south, and we'll go on and switch it. And my folks here in northern Alabama, I really think this breaks apart as you lose the daytime heating. You get into the overnight hours, and it really just turns into a broken up mess. But I think this line continues, where you got plenty of surface moisture down here in southern Louisiana, and I think it could be a rocky overnight for areas like Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, and basically the bayou of Louisiana. I really think this could just be a nasty line of storms that moves through, as the sun's already went down, midnight, 1 a.m. So be careful in that area. A lot of times these things like to move in a little bit quicker than what they're forecast on models. So we'll watch that for sure. But up here in Tennessee, I really don't think it's going to be that bad in Alabama. I think if we're basing this off what, the HRRR model showing, it wants to break the entire line apart really before it even slams Alabama. But even if it didn't, I think the line would lose a lot of steam as you get overnight tonight. So switching this over, we look at the kind of the dynamics in place here. Plenty of moisture. These are dew points, not temperatures, by the way. This is plenty of moisture ahead of this surging line that's going to develop with a lot of more stable, dry air moving in behind it. And, you're going to have a tropical atmosphere in place ahead of this line. So you got plenty of that low-level moisture that feeds into these storms. They love this high level of moisture at the surface. They really do. And they'll feed off of it like crazy here. And they will. And then you look at the Cape, that storm juice, the storm fuel, if you will. In response to those high-end dew points, you normally have another response of a high-end Cape in response to those dew points. So a lot of caping is going to be in the area already early this morning. I mean, you already got Cape values this morning reaching 2,000 joules per kilogram at the surface. So already a lot of energy towards the surface. Now, there's different levels of Cape in the atmosphere, but at the surface, there's already a lot of energy for this to tap into. And, there'll be energy for this line to tap into. And you see the big cutoff here. That's because this line of storms moves through and stabilizes the atmosphere, at least temporarily. Could get a little bit more unstable, as the energy moves through. It's able to warm back up in areas of eastern Oklahoma, but I don't expect really anything bad today in these areas like it was yesterday. But we're watching this for sure. We'll continue to move forward. I will mention, it's going to be hot today in the southeast. I mean, when you mash the humidity mixed with the actual air temperatures, I think it'll be the hottest day of 2022 in areas of the southeast, especially Georgia, the Carolinas, South Carolina, Georgia. I'm really talking about you guys, even areas of North Carolina. When you mash the humidity, you got this system coming for tomorrow. And normally the day before a system comes, you get the most humid air and normally the hottest temperatures. And that is going to be the case. I'll show you here in a second. But anyways, you look outside that area I just talked about as far as rain today. I think you'll see some rain in Illinois today. All clear up here in the Great Lakes region. But up here in Indiana, I think you guys will be dealing with a little bit of light rain, light to moderate rain, maybe a rumble of thunder up here in Ohio as you go to the afternoon hours. And then this low pressure begins to crank up, and maybe some storms in this area today again will fire up a little bit later this evening in areas of southwest Missouri and then areas of southeast Kansas. We'll keep this rolling. These are the temperatures. I'll get a little bit closer for my folks in the southeast here in a second, but it's going to be a nice day. Finally up here, I think you will get robbed of some of the warmth in Boston just due to the flow off the ocean still being cool. But in just inland, southern New England, 60s, some 70-degree readings will likely show up. 70s into New York City, nice day. But once you start to get into southern areas of Virginia, Kentucky, points south, it gets very warm, and in some areas gets downright hot and uncomfortable. I think some of the coastal plains of Georgia and South Carolina get well into the 90s, and I think there'll be some 90-degree readings before we even get to noon today. Some big time surface heating going on today, all the way to Arkansas, I really think. But some cool air behind this system that's coming in for the rest of the country for sure. A little bit closer, This is high temperatures predicted off the HRRR model, so not necessarily the National Weather Service. But the HRRR model can do a really good job with these temperatures sometimes. But low to mid 90s for the entire southern half of Georgia. I mean, even Atlanta is going to get close to 90 today. You know, I really think areas in Columbia will hit 90, 91, 92. And then I think 90s will probably, areas will be flirting with 90s all the way up to Fayetteville, North Carolina. I really think it's going to be the case. It's going to be a blazer today. You're going to be begging for an afternoon shower or storm. Humidity is not going to make it any better. In fact, you look at dew points for the same time frame. You know, you're going to be hoping that this dry air verifies. A little bit of dry air certainly verifies in this area, but we'll see how this happens. And I really think there's certain areas, sometimes the dew points can be a little weird on the HRRR model, but I think it'll be a little bit more moist than what this is showing for sure. But we'll see how this happens here. Hopefully, it's for sure you get a little bit more dry air that seeps into this region, because you're going to be hoping that the dew points are not in the 60s. But as far as out west, big system starts to enter the Pacific Northwest, so by the time you're getting into about midday to early afternoon, widespread rain. And it's still pretty warm up here, so you're not even going to get a lot of mountain snow off this. You're starting to get to the time of the year where obviously snow levels rise rather than drop on average. But a lot of rain up here for my folks in Washington State, Oregon, Northern California, which really needs it. Temperatures, I mean, it's going to get, it's going to push 80 degrees in areas of Montana today. The only place that stays relatively cool is just the fact that you have rain-cooled air in these areas. Everybody else, well above average. Every state you can name off here in the western U.S. above average temperature-wise for sure. Tomorrow there is a slight risk. I'll talk about this very briefly. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make a video on this. And I know most of my audience is from here in the southeast, so I'm a little disappointed I can't give you all a detailed video tomorrow morning on this. But let me tell you, there is going to be a threat for severe weather, and I will not. This is increased. This is a pretty large slight risk right here. So if there's going to be an enhanced risk that gets introduced, I mean, it could be up here. It could be right in here. You look at the tornado threat, isolated 5% chance right here in North Carolina, Virginia border, while I think the warm front will rise up here and provide an extra spin to the atmosphere where you have two colliding wind directions riding against each other. Pretty much just spins the storms up there. When you have two different directions going, two different ways, a direction going two different ways colliding against each other, it spins things. And that's how it is in the atmosphere too. It's constantly in motion. So watch out in this area. Watch out Raleigh. Watch out just southeast of Roanoke, just south of Richmond, Virginia. Wind threats there and hail threats there, but nothing higher than a 15% risk for now. Really, we look at this, and I'll tell you, the latest long-range HRRR model looks kind of worrisome. You start this off by tomorrow morning, and you already have discrete cells popping off in areas of eastern Tennessee, all the way up into Kentucky. It's a little bit more congealed and put together in Kentucky. But you look down here in eastern Alabama, moving into North Georgia, this is a nasty little cluster of semi-discrete cells forming. And you got to worry, you don't have as good as kinematics down here. Not a lot of screaming winds at the low levels to really spin these storms. But man, look at this open sector right here ahead of this. I mean, at this point, it's about 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And look in Virginia. This is what you worry. Humid air builds into this region. Warm front rises. And then you have 1 or 2 discrete cells that pop up. And I'm telling you, man, I mean, the HRRR model wants to drop a tornadic storm in areas of southern Virginia tomorrow. This could be dangerous. I'm not going to be able to keep you guys as updated as I want to. But even back here in the Carolinas, a line of broken up showers and storms are moving through that could be very, very intense. So the HRRR model has some active weather across the southeast and eastern U.S. tomorrow. So please be weather aware. Watch out, Virginia. Tornado threat could increase as we're going into the next 24 hours for sure, especially if the HRRR model prints out another long-range model like it did this morning. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Stay safe. I'll keep you guys updated as much as I can. But it's also family time, too, and we're ready to enjoy ourselves. So God bless all y'all. Stay safe out there today, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you again.